Let's talk about how much you should put down when you buy a home. Nope, start over. Let's talk about how much you should put down when you buy a house. More specifically, the frequently asked questions for when you buy a home in Dallas and the down payment questions, right? So, first one we get often is what down payment amount tends to maximize my returns for a Dallas buyer? At the end of the day, to truly, if you're looking for ROI, meaning you put the least amount down and you get the most return from it, it's going to be putting down less. Meaning, if you put down less money, let's just say 5%, and the house appreciates because whether you pay cash or have a mortgage, it's going to appreciate. So the highest ROI is going to be based on the lowest down payment. Having said that, that's not what I recommend. Every buyer is going to have their own scenario, unique scenario. And that's where I do think it's important to just look at this and understand that it is going to be based on that person's situation. If they got more money than God and they got a hole burning, money burning a hole in their pocket, sure, 20% is a great number. But the reality is 5, 10, 15, 20, somewhere in there could be that sweet spot where you keep enough in the bank when you're done, but also have enough of a down payment where you feel comfortable with that monthly payment. So, then that kind of bleeds into the next question. Is 20% down always the best move in Dallas? No, it's not the best move anywhere. Now, there could be markets that even in Dallas, but let's say even just California or somewhere like that, where the price of the home, $5 million homes, you may not have a choice. So 20% would be the best move, but 20% is not always the best move when buying a house, whether it's Dallas or anywhere in Texas or the United States for that matter. Again, it goes back to you got to look at everything from, does the PMI matter to somebody? How much risk does it, cause if you put down all that money and reduce your liquidity? Those are certainly things to impact. And again, how does that PMI affect the return if they put down less than 20%? Again, if they put down, let's just say 5%, and the PMI is there, it could be, however many dollars per month. Certainly it's going to diminish those returns a little, right? In the sense that, the house appreciates, but now you have this little extra expense. But I would argue that you can keep more money in your bank account, and maybe that prevents you from going out and getting more credit card debt because you put too much down and don't have reserves. Or maybe that you put that money into your 401k and over time it gets to grow. So I think those are the things that you got to find that sweet spot and that balancing act. The average down payment on a house in Dallas or just in Texas in general, most people, so those that have 20%, good for them, but it's not the majority. It's not even half. It's most folks will put down what they feel comfortable. And again, I think I truthfully, given the choice, like I said, unless the money's burning a hole in your pocket, PMI is not a bad thing. And for first time homebuyers, especially, we got zero down options, zero down, 3%, 3.5%, 5%. Those are all really great options for people, looking to buy a home in Dallas or anywhere else. Do the Dallas area property taxes change how much you should put down? No. I mean, yes and no, right? They do in the sense that the property taxes in Texas in general are going to be higher than some other states because we don't have a state income tax. And that may impact you in terms of qualifying or, how much you want to put down to get this, targeted monthly payment. But in general, no. At the end of the day, put down the down payment that you need or want to, right? For the right program, the right rate, and just finding that sweet spot for that payment. Can down payment assistance in Dallas still support a strong return? Yes, because again, putting zero money down, the fact that your home appreciates, again, whether it's fully leveraged or paid off entirely, you put zero money down, if it appreciates, you made money. So good for you. So yes, in terms of the ROI, right? If that's, and I know that's not why a lot of folks they shouldn't be buying homes for that reason. But it's a wonderful math that says, hey, you invest, $0 as a down payment and you get all these returns. Yes, there's expenses, right? You got interest and things like that. But those are things you should consider as well. How to use a down payment calculator for a Dallas, whether you're buying a home in Dallas or anywhere else. We have a phenomenal home loan toolkit. It includes a down payment calculator. It's a payment calculator. You can put down payment scenarios in there. Say, what do you want to do? 3%, 5%, 20%. And it shows you cost to close, and that's our home loan toolkit. I absolutely recommend you should at least run those options to see, so that way you can make an educated decision on what you want to do. And we'll certainly help you along the way with that. Will a larger down payment help my offer in Dallas? And does it matter for return? I think it can. When you put an offer in on a home, if somebody says, hey, I'm putting down 10%, or 20% or 50%. It certainly gives that seller a little, warm and fuzzy that says, oh man, they're putting down 50%. They must be a very qualified buyer. And generally that's true. So yes, I do think putting a larger down payment can work for you in Dallas. Now, here's the reality. You can qualify for that. You can put that on your pre-qualification letter, but that doesn't mean you have to do it. A pre-qualification letter is just that, it's pre-qualifying. So if you want to put down 50%, but you can qualify for less later on, more power to you. So really when it comes down to the final decision and the framework around it, one is, again, get your budget, keep enough cash to stay liquid to where you have some reserves. Be sure to account for closing costs, your emergency funds, all that stuff. That's one, is kind of figure out just what you need. Then number two, step two, you can price out your down payment. So when you ask how much should you put down to buy a house, that's the answer, right? Is where does that down payment amount hit the goals for the monthly payment and keeping cash reserves, things like that. And then number three, choose whatever you want. If you're going for those returns, again, I really do like 5 and 10%. I think 10% is a good sweet spot. I think 5 is awesome. Certainly great programs. FHA's 3.5, VA is 0, USDA is 0. Bond programs, grant programs can be 3%. So there's really good options out there for folks. But maximizing your return, it's not about chasing that like percent. I got to get this money return, because I get a lot of, truthfully, it's younger folks, first-time home buyers that are worried about this return. I don't know if it's what they're watching online, but I do think it's about finding that sweet spot to make sure you're financially prepared. So how much should you put down when you buy a home in Dallas? Again, I think that's up to you and your scenario and what that right amount is to find that sweet spot. And certainly if you have questions, the Mortgage Mark team is here to help and answer questions. You go to mortgagemark.com. And when you think mortgage, think Mark.